Oh hey, didn't see you there. Yeah, you know me, I'm that guy who's really into action anime, but the one issue I have is it doesn't give me anything to do with my hands. Because when I'm left to my own devices, I just start pouring shots of mouthwash, which is fine and all, but my breath has just been way too fresh lately. Well, it's not whatnot. Licensed anime games have been a thing for a very long time. I mean, Dragon Ball had like 3 games in the 80s, so yeah, this is not a new thing. If an anime is hot enough for a long enough time, it's bound to get some form of interactive treatment. To just name a few that probably didn't seem too obvious, ReZero, Black Clover, Tokyo Ghoul, Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, all got video games. That one was less like a title and more like a sentence. I assume this is because a lot of anime fans are also people who play video games. I wouldn't say that's 100% the other way around, but the two hobbies are connected. That being said, all the games I mentioned aren't too related to the topic at hand today. However, when a new anime game is announced, 2 questions get asked. Well, 1 question in 2 different tones. Oh my god, is it an arena fighter? Okay, but what is an arena fighter? Man, there sure is a lot of setup for this one topic. It's typically a game where you have full movement and aren't too targeted at your opponent and the stage is big, usually more like an arena or a full map. While there was a fair amount of Dragon Ball games that did it first, I would even go as far as to say that they were probably the first anime property to do the genre like that. The ones who popularized it and made it standard are also the ones who did it by far the best, and I am talking about the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm series. Oh damn, did you say Storm? Wait, Ninja Storm? Oh god, I'm not even gonna be able to see the rain! These games as a whole are a topic I would love to tackle someday, but for now, what's important are just the mechanics. They kinda took the concept and toned it down enough to where it could be applied to most properties rather than just Dragon Ball. Give a character some special attacks, a melee combo, a way to break out a melee combo, an ultimate attack, and maybe an ultimate form if you're feeling frisky enough. And I am always feeling frisky enough. That sounds pretty fun, and it would be a great way to see your favorite characters from your favorite properties fight in this format, so what's the issue? Well, a lot of anime game devs had the same idea, except instead of using this genre to pump out a game full of fan service, intense gameplay, and a genuine substitute for the anime or manga to enjoy the story, they just took the bare bones formula and spat out a game that had special attacks and a big battlefield. Now that isn't to say every arena fighting game is bad except for the Storm series. A lot of them are very competent experiences for the fans of these anime to enjoy. However, that also isn't to say every anime arena fighting game is good. It's a simple formula, but not hard to mess up. All that being said, let's go over some of the arena fighters I happen to have on hand from years of wasting money. But for that, we need some criteria for what I'm looking for. I want a game that fans of any of these properties included on one of these funny looking circle books would enjoy. I want the characters to represent their animated counterparts well, and I want some fan service like occasional unique interactions or a callback to episodes that came out around the time this game came around. I want to be able to enjoy more of this game by being familiar of its source material. That being said, I also want the game to actually be fun and functional. I don't expect everything to be perfectly balanced or to have a high skill ceiling, but I don't care how much I enjoy a property. If the game of it's boring, I can't like it. Regardless, I hope you're ready, because everything I say is going to be very intelligently put, because these are genuine reviews and opinions on these games, not to intimidate anyone, but you may need a dictionary on hand because I want my feelings to be exactly worded. Let's start with... this game sucks. 7 Deadly Sins Knights of Britannia is a perfect example of the bare minimum for a licensed anime game. What? Just because he's the main character doesn't mean he can't be my main. This kinda slips up on both of my categories. It doesn't exactly have fan service or fun gameplay, and it sure as hell isn't a substitute for the story. The story mode covers the first season of the anime, and with a future patch it kinda goes into a bit of season 2 with bonus missions as events, but the overall issue of the story mode is that it has the same issue that the rest of the game has. It just didn't try hard enough. It's neat that you travel around a map like the style of an adventure game, and it's neat seeing the characters you have interact like mementos from Persona 5, but outside of that, I don't have anything really positive to say. Every cutscene is just a character standing in a predetermined spot talking to each other, standard fight, in another cutscene, and you're back on the world map. Besides standard fights, there are also horde battle missions, but the only thing I like about this is stronger enemies are just the same in-game model, but larger than standard enemies. I can take that in a fight easy. Oh god! But you're gonna spend more time playing random matches in the story mode, so what's the combat like? Does it redeem the entire story mode? Is it truly a shocking hidden gem that no one saw coming and is actually competitively viable? Would I be setting this section up with any of these rhetorical questions if any answer was yes? To its credit, they had an interesting idea of assigning one of 3 classes on each character: speed, power, and magic. Speed characters are very mobile, power characters are slow but powerful, and mage characters play the most unique where mana management is part of the experience. But the execution was poor. Speed characters aren't weaker to account for their added mobility, power characters can literally just dash everywhere instead of walk, and playing against a mage character makes me this much closer to a nervous breakdown. And for that reason in standard play, you kinda end up against the walls this stage, like most of the fights just take place there. Even when the person getting comboed ends up getting the upper hand, everyone just stays up against the wall. But if we're talking gameplay oversights, we can't forget the lack of balance. And not like, wow, Demon Meliodas is too strong. Yeah, I expected the transformation of a protagonist to be a bit stronger than the talking pig, but that isn't what I mean. My biggest example is this character's ultimate. To the game's credit, it's cool that not all ultimates are attacks, like sometimes it's a buff, but this character, Bond, can use special moves for a limited time without losing any magic power. Which would be cool and all, but there's no cooldown between using attacks, and once that happens, you can literally just keep spamming a quick fire move and win, and oh, hey look, we're back here again. The anime has such great characters full of personality, and honestly, with more of that, I wouldn't have such a negative opinion of the game, but with dull action, ugly visuals, and no soul, I can't suggest this. Wait, am I talking about the game or the third season? Next up is Kill la Kill If, and I don't own that game physically, so we're just gonna use a copy of Shadow the Hedgehog. It's like practically the same thing. Now, I'm not as familiar with this property as I am with Seven Deadly Sins, mostly because if I tried to watch a show and someone walked in, I think I would have a panic attack. But regardless, this game isn't connected at all to our usual suspects of licensed anime games, but instead it's made by Arc System Works, the ones who made BlazBlue, Dragon Ball FighterZ, all that stuff, but the difference between this and them is they're all 2D tournament fighters, while Kill la Kill is, shockingly enough with this topic in mind, an arena fighter. Now when we boot up this game, we actually hear the opening of the anime as a title theme, and that alone is enough to make me prefer it over Knights of Britannia. To be fair, I could press start and get pepper sprayed and I would still prefer it more. One of the most notable things about this game going into it is how small the character list is. Just being around 10 characters, with some characters having alternate fighting styles. Nothing wrong with that, there's only so many characters in the series, and you know what, I'd rather have a few fun characters than a lot of identical characters. Yeah, I hate filler slots in games, that's why whenever I buy a deck of cards, I make sure to only have one of every card. Just because I hate wasting space. Come on, we already have a 2, we don't need 3 more. The gameplay is interesting because it has the same button inputs as most arena fighters, but it also feels a lot more like tournament fighters with its combo heavy feel and how effortlessly moves can flow into other moves. But it just had to have a gimmick, which is a rock paper scissors type thing where if you get 3 wins in it, you unlock the use of your ultimate attack. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot! Haha, you chose paper, where's the punishment, baseball bat? Technical aspects aside, I don't think I've seen a 3D game that looks this close to anime before. Like, if you told me some of the cinematic animations were 2D, I would absolutely believe you. There's also my favorite kind of fan service where each character has a unique interaction with each other. Even though I don't know this anime too well, even in just fighting and those starting and ending interactions, I have a good feeling of their personalities. Also, I already knew this, but this solidified the one thing I knew about this property. Kill la Kill is weird. That being said, weird is better than bad. It easily goes above Knights of Britannia.
One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows.
I like to solve things with one punch too. Okay, let's start picking up the pace pretty fast because I am talking a bit too long and I'm starting to get into games I haven't spent as much time in. Also, it's dawning on me that I own the majority of these games digitally, so I'm just going to put up a graphic instead. So quick rapid surprising fact, the One Punch Man game isn't balanced. Wait, what? I mean, it's meant to not be balanced, kinda the point of the show as a whole, so it isn't too much of a complaint from me. You can honestly consider it a pro because they're staying true to the source material, having some characters just being mechanically better than others. And they had some unique ideas like how if you want to play as the main character Saitama, you had to go without an extra person until his timer runs out, so that changes the dynamics of matches, but that aside, I'm overall not a big fan of this game. It feels a lot slower than any other game I've mentioned so far, but it also feels intentional to be that slow, so I'm not exactly upset about it. There's also like random events that pop up that add RNG to matches and it can be interesting. I don't know, this game just didn't leave an impact on me. Not because it's bad or anything, but just because it's not for me. I think it's cool that there are more unique interactions with any character that could have individual dynamics, and it's even cooler that this game got a dub, but I don't know. It's okay, I wouldn't tell my grandkids about it. Hero Nobody Knows goes right under Kill la Kill. My Hero's One Justice is 50% possessive words. Speaking of anime that had at least one season about a hero punching once, we have My Hero's One Justice, and I have no idea what I think about this game. After playing it a little bit, my list of facts didn't change, and that's just the trailer music sounds a lot like the Future Diary battle theme. Starting with positives, this game does have a lot of style. It looks good. It doesn't feel like any shortcuts were taken here, which makes me even more confused why there aren't any subtitles, at least in battle or anywhere outside of story mode. But yeah, it's kinda hard to judge the fanfare of the game, and I have no idea what's going on outside of the very odd feeling combat. Which leading to the only actual thing I can talk about, the fighting just feels not how I would expect a My Hero Academia game to feel. Honestly, I have no idea what game I would expect to play like this. I wouldn't say it's bad or anything, I just don't get it. I think this game could be fun with friends or I don't know, your lawyer or something, but it just kind of exists and I don't exactly know why it does that. Existential nightmare aside, it goes in between One Punch Man and 7 Deadly Sins. I'm ready for the Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is a show, not a mythical creature themed party. Really? Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is one of the most addictive anime games I have played in a long time. We get another case of intentionally not balanced, but honestly I couldn't tell you how any of these characters played because I loved working on my custom characters so much. An idea that many other anime games have tried to replicate, but the fact I didn't mention that One Punch Man did the same thing shows you how well it's executed elsewhere. Finally, with this you can answer the age-old question, who can beat Goku? The answer is, everybody. Personally I picked Kirito because I love the sound of rocks hitting my window. The combos are just so damn fun to mess with, swapping out special moves, playing to different races, going through the story mode with different perspectives of the retold Dragon Ball story. Even though this game has a myriad of issues, I love it, even as someone who isn't too much of a fan of Dragon Ball. It's just fun. And characters have their own unique interactions with each other if you decide to make a mistake and not play as your custom character, and you get to see an entire roster full of the rich history of Dragon Ball, but it doesn't feel overwhelming. And the game still receives updates and attention, preventing it from becoming outdated. This easily ranks at the top for the fun of the game alone, and as someone who does like and have respect for a Dragon Ball property, that's only bonus points. I know there are a lot more arena fighters I didn't cover, and some of the games I covered have sequels or will get sequels, so I'm leaving this list kind of open-ended. Now if you excuse me, I have a fight to get to. See, I said one too many things about Sonic X, and now I gotta throw hands with someone. But don't worry, I learned how to fight from these games. See, if I just hold R2 and X, I unlock my ultimate. I don't like arena fighters anymore.